Hey guys, welcome back. So today we are going to be talking about part one of the upper level, and this is just going to be the construction of the upper loop that we've been talking about. We've got our main bridge in the back of the layout now set up, so everything's going to be coming off that bridge. So now we're ready to start the upper level. So let's not waste any time and let's just get right into it.
So the first step I did to start the upper level here is to get the actual roadbed portion cut out and temporarily just mounted so I could make sure everything was going to, fit exactly where I wanted to it. So you kind of get an overview. If you can see in the back there, it sort of comes out the back, right? It goes around the back of the roundhouse, comes around here, goes up front, and then sort of swings across and then around the power station, and then back, and then back into the bridge in the back there. So that's the basic shape of it. So that's actually pretty good. It's got some nice curves in it. Now this whole thing I cut out using some reel tracks from MTH. So some standard gauge reel tracks that I had, and I just snapped two pieces together and I traced them on the wood, and then I cut out a whole bunch of curves that were 2 sections long, because for the most part there's no more than I don't have any curves here that are more than actually 2 sections. Some are a little shorter, but that worked out. So I just cut a whole bunch of them in a row off a couple of sheets of 1/4-inch plywood, and then I also cut some straights using the same fast reel tracks as a template. So I really just drew right on the outside of the roadbed and stuff like that, and I'll show you why I did that. Standard gauge reel tracks basically has the integrated roadbed, and that was the reason I used it as a template, because when you snap 2 pieces together, they're pretty much exactly a 42 radius. Unlike tubular track, which has so much flex and play in it, right? If I tried to use that as my template, it would have been all over the place and not as accurate. So this actually is, I just drew right on the outside edge of the roadbed here, and then I just marked the straights on the top and drew a line across, and I created 2 sections of the track in wood, and that's really what I did. And then I just started taking those pieces, and I started off the bridge in the back here. So if we zip around here on the back, I started on that ledge I have on the bridge, and I just took a straight piece, and then I took a curved piece, and I overlapped them until I found out, where I really wanted each piece. So this comes back here, comes over the back of the roundhouse, and like I said, these are all 42, exactly 42 curves here. So I know that when I put the guard graves on here and I'm bending it around, I know I'm going to have at least a minimum of 42 curves, which is what I want. And then I just sort of went straight across here. There's a little bit of a jog right there, and then it comes another 42, comes around here. Half 42 goes the opposite direction, and then straight section, and then we curve around the back here, straight all the way back, and then back into the bridge. Now, what you're seeing here right now are just a bunch of old scrap. I had some scrap 2x4s that I just cut up into like 8.5-inch heights, and I just screwed the plywood into it just temporarily to hold it up as I was building it around, to make sure that I was going to clear all the buildings I needed to clear, and there were not going to be obstructions and things like that. However, you see there's like piers on the track and everything else. That's obviously not what is going to be the support system for this. This was just to temporarily hold it up so I could get the layout of the actual track itself. And that's all it was. So for this first step here, I just got the wood cut, and that was the messiest part, cutting wood, sawdust. It's such a mess. But now that's all finished. So I'm really happy about that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to actually permanently join all these pieces together. And I'll probably do it in maybe, I don't know, 4 sections. And so I'll take them off the 2x4s. Right now I just have little screws. I just screwed them right in the 2x4 to hold everything together. But I'll take them apart and I will put them together with these aluminum plates that I've cut. And basically I'll put them like that, right? There'll be 4 screws, bolt them together, and that'll keep the sections together. And this will be obviously underneath here. But it won't lower the height much because it's just, they're like 1/8 inch here. And then it'll just hold the individual wood pieces together. So I'll, you know, maybe do like this whole section, maybe up to here is one piece, and then this section over here is a second piece. So I think 4 pieces would be good, that I could handle them, and they won't be too big. So we're going to do that next. Once we get them all joined together, then the next piece will be obviously getting the supports. Now the supports are going to be all kinds of different shapes and widths, because it depends where it is that I need the support and what I have to do. So for instance, if you can see right here, if I put a support like right here, this would just be a straight support going down to the platform. I don't really have to worry about anything, so both tracks would clear that, no issues or problems. But if I come back here, obviously coming off this bridge here, I'm directly over another track down below, so I can't just put a straight support right underneath it. It's going to have to be support that straddles the track and has enough clearance on each side. So there's going to be all different configurations of supports, and I actually think that'll look kind of cool because it'll kind of look real, because you're really going around the terrain, and you obviously have to make sure that the trains underneath are all going to clear. So I'm going to get some of the bigger cars, the state cars and the Hiawatha cars, and run them all through and make sure everything clears when I'm doing these supports. Okay, so this was step 1, and actually it took me the entire day to get this all cut out and temporarily assembled. But now that it's done, I really kind of like it. Actually, I like the shape of it. And it gives me this whole front area where it's not obstructed by the upper loop, which is one of the things I don't really like about upper loops. A lot of times they obstruct things where you can't see behind them. So this one, what I did is I only made it as wide as this real track, so that and the guardrails is probably just a little bit less than this, so that I'm not making this big, humongous, you know, wide thing that's going to block all kinds of views of everything behind it. So, and I think once you see the supports I'm coming up with, they won't be like this, these big blocky things. When you see the supports, they're going to be pretty cool, steel, and it'll look much better where you don't have these big blocky things, you know, obstructing your view of whatever's behind it. So yeah, so that's it. So this was step 1. Like I said, took me a full day to get this piece done. Next we'll get everything joined together, and then when we do that, we'll clean up these edges too, if there's any of them that aren't perfectly even. Get that all sanded on the sides and everything to make sure, because we have a cool little sort of trim that we're going to be putting on this, we need these joints in between here to be perfectly flush with each other. So, and they, for the most part, they all are exactly flush with each other. So it turned out really well, because I just use a scroll saw to cut these out, and everything sort of lined up. So really, it's kind of wood sectional track, right? It's sectional wood, and that's how it turned out. So I'm clearing all the buildings. I did spend actually half a day getting all these buildings and accessories out of their boxes, to put them on the layout, to get them kind of where I wanted them, to make sure I was going to clear everything with the upper level here. I took a whole bunch of them off already, but you can see a whole bunch stacked up here right now waiting. And that's it. So I've got to cut a bunch of these aluminum plates here, get this stuff all bolted together, and then we'll start talking about the support system. Now, once I get the supports and everything's finished, what I'm going to do is actually put the gray felt here that you see right here on the top of the wood to kind of finish it off. And like I said, there will be something on the edges here to trim this out, so it's not going to be just this wood edge that you're going to see. It's kind of going to look like a sort of an elevated steel platform when I'm finished with it. So, all right, so that's it for now, and we'll come back and we'll check out the joints and how I did all that once I get all that finished.
All right, guys, that's it for part one of the upper level. It turned out really well, so we're cooking along here. And next part will be the supports, and then finally the track and the wiring, and then we should be all set. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, please put them down below. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and I will see you guys next time. Peace, guys.